Good evening, Fredonia. You're listening to the local lowdown on WCVF 88.9 The Voice and WDVL 89.5 The Inferno. I'm Elena, your co-host and field interview lead.
Hello, I'm Jordan. I'm your other co-host, and I'm the executive producer and the A&R lead.
Hey, it's Sebastian, your technical director, making sure all the cameras are rolling.
They are rolling. Had to get a new SD card and everything.
Yeah, we figured it out, though.
Did all the steps.
YouTube tutorial is
For
the way
the
to go. Yeah. Tonight's show is brought to you by Fredonia Radio Systems in a group effort to promote and showcase the local music scene right here in Fredonia, but also Western New York at large. Welcome to the Local Lowdown.
On this week's episode, we are welcoming Kota, Savia.
Hi.
Welcome. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of course. We always like to start off by having you introduce yourself and your background in music.
I'm Kota Savia. I've always had an interest in music, and it's something I've always did my best to take part in. Like, I've done every school talent show I could possibly do since kindergarten, and I officially started pursuing it by the time I was about 16 and putting out music and things like that. And I've just I've been consistent with just making it progress ever since.
Nice. And you've mentioned before that both of your parents are musicians. Your father's a rapper and your mother's a singer. Mm-hmm. How has growing up in a musical household shaped you now?
Growing up with both of my parents doing music, my dad, like you said, rapped, and he would put together his CDs and sell them and do shows and things like that. And my mom was always there to help him burn the CDs and put them together. So that kind of helped show me the business side of it. And my mom was always more of a singer. She still sings. She sings at her church. And that's what kind of helped shape and guide my vocal range and learning notes and how to do things like that. So both of those together helped me do the business and perfect my craft at the same time. It's definitely, It was a cool experience to be able to grow up around that.
Yeah. I mean, and musically, those are the two things that you mainly do,
right.
too.
Yeah.
So
a lot of people have the talent, but not everyone learns the business side. And I feel like you got to know the business.
Yeah, I was just about to say that's really interesting that you were able to be introduced to that side so early on and you knew what you were stepping into kind of thing. Yeah. Well, also, you had just mentioned that you were really starting to get into music at around 16, but you had done a lot of stuff at Buff State.
Yes.
What was that experience like working with that and in that kind of community?
That was, I want to say, my first large crowd. I did a backup vocal for an artist. His name is Quality. And I think there might have been a little over 200 people there. But at the time, that was the biggest crowd I've ever performed at. And I was doing backup vocals at the time. So that helped me just get used to being on stage. I wasn't in the spotlight, but that just helped me get more comfortable with being in front of a bigger crowd and having a specific part to play in the performance.
Gotcha. Was it an on-campus performance?
Yeah.
Or?
So they used to put together events on campus, and they would have people. The one I did specifically, I remember, was Juju hosted it. She's on a TV show or was on a TV show. I forget which one. Gotcha. But she came and hosted the event, and the guy that I performed with, Quality, had a set, and I was the backup vocalist for that performance. And yeah.
Gotcha.
Wow.
Was there any people you were making music with at Buff State also at that time? Was there a good music community there in general?
There was a lot of creatives and music people there. I honestly, I did a lot more music than class when I went there. So there was a good group of people that did music, and they actually helped me record my first song. I actually made my first song on campus. It was with a mic clipped to a table in one of the halls, and that's the one that got pushed out there.
Yeah. Was there a reason that was the first one that you wanted to release? It was called Clarity, right?
So that was my first EP that I put out, but the first song I ever put out was called Loner, and it's on SoundCloud. I have a whole catalog of songs on SoundCloud that were dropped before I even really knew what I was doing or even knew that I really wanted to pursue it.
Yeah.
I was just doing it, and everyone around me was like, oh, you're good at this. You need to put music out. So I was like, okay, I'll put out an effort. And that was just the first song that I ever recorded under my name.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. Does it feel different to look back on what you were making then versus what you're making now, and just your creative process in general at that time?
For sure.
Has it changed?
when I was doing it then, it was because everybody else was telling me I should do it. Versus doing it now, it's like I'm doing it because I want to do it and I love doing this.
Yeah.
Do you feel like with what you were just saying with that, do you feel like your writing process was also different between those two times when it was more of people telling you like, hey, you should do something, you should get this out,
Yeah,
things like that?
there was definitely more pressure. And I felt more inclined to just write something. And now when I write songs, like I take my time with it. I don't rush them, and it's like I want my songs to have a meaning. I want my songs to have a story behind them.
Right.
You know, that takes time. You can't really force that.
Yeah. Well, in 2023, you had quite a list of accomplishments. I'm going to read off some of them here. So you dropped your debut album, Ananda. I'd say that's probably the big one.
Yeah.
Then you were also involved in an album release party for Conway the Machine. You went on 3 press runs with Jay Skeese, another local rapper. Had 2 features on the Drumwork album, which came out this year too. And 2 more on another Jay Skeese album. And the list goes on. But what does it feel like to look back on 2023 now that you're in 2024?
2023 was like, all right, this is the introduction of what you've been asking for. And it was definitely a huge learning experience because I got to know what it was like. Again, this is me not under the spotlight, but I get to learn how to network with these people. I get to know what it's like in a room this big with people of this status.
Yeah.
And how to navigate rooms like that.
Okay.
And
That's interesting.
now whenever I do get put into that position, I know how to do that.
Yeah.
Like that, those moments prepared me for podcasts and interviews like this.
Yeah. Huh.
Forgot what I was going to ask. But within that list of accomplishments, we did mention your album, Ananda, which was your solo debut project. How does that feel now that it's out? How was the whole process with that?
It was a long process. I want to say that I started recording songs for that album like a year prior.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
And I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with those songs, but I just know I needed content.
Yeah.
And so I took the time to just make the songs. I wasn't in any rush to put together the album. I just knew that when it was time, it was time. And that was like the first album that I was like, okay, I need a listening party. I need to do a photo shoot for the cover. I wanted to look so like as professional as possible. And that's also where being around everybody else of, Conway skis,
Yeah.
like that's where those experience helped put into motion for what I wanted to do for
Right.
mine. Because it's like, okay, I experienced that listening party. I need a listening party.
Yeah.
There was a photo shoot done and everything was, outfits, hair, makeup. I need to do that for mine.
Yeah.
Because people are going to look at that and see, okay, this is professional. This is well put together. The quality is good. She took her time and planned this. And I really want people to not just like the sound, but appreciate the art that goes behind it.
Yeah. No, I think it was really good that it was kind of smartly placed, like side by side, because like at that point was Drumworks. It was like either right before or after, right? Drumworks album came
so
out.
I tried to line it up with that too because there was so
You
much.
want the eyes.
There was so much buzz
Yeah.
around what was going on, and like a lot of people thought I was signed to Drumwork too. So I was like, okay, like this is. I didn't know when the time was going to be. I just knew like, okay, it's time. I didn't even know that I was going to be on the Drumwork album. I was in the
Right.
studio and I was wrapping up a feature I did for Skeeze's album and just listening to it before it got mixed. And then the Drumwork session was
Wow,
directly
that's
after.
crazy.
And so they were like, oh, you could stay if you wanted to. There was no plans for me being on that album. Like, if you have something, do it. Put it on there.
Yeah, and then you got 2 features on it.
Yeah.
And it's like they recorded a bunch of songs and then only they had a final cut. And those 2 made it.
Wow.
So that was also just like a very busy time as
Yeah.
well. It must have been such a relief to finally release the album and everything too, with
Yeah.
you working on it as long.
Yeah, I had been hearing about your name for a while, just like in passing, and then I had just seen that you just had the 1 song out. So I was like, I'm looking forward
There's
to when
gotta be
stuff comes
something.
out. And then 2023 was like so much stuff, and now we're finally getting around to having you. So it's I'm glad that you're here.
Yeah. Is there an overall meaning to the album itself, and specifically like with the title? Is there a certain relation?
So, I'm going to start with the title of the album. So, Ananda is Sanskrit for true peace or happiness or to be filled with love. And I chose that name because a lot of the songs on the album had to do with loving myself and loving where I was at life. And, you know, like one of my songs on the album is about my daughter. And it's like, I had to put, like, I needed something that represented that feeling.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. Did you feel like having a daughter like had an effect on the project at all, or like are there any other songs about your daughter? Or is that?
I think that's entry number 1 is the only
Yeah.
song on the album that's specifically about her. I was going through some stuff, and I just felt a lot of pressure to like make everything happen, and I had to like tell myself that, you know, like I was put in this position because I was meant to handle it. I'm equipped with everything to take care of it and make sure that she's healthy, make sure that she's good, and, you know,
Yeah, yeah. It's a great project.
thank you.
Yeah, it's like I just think it's a really nice blend of like neo soul, hip hop. It's good features too. It's also like short and concise. So yeah,
That's my only struggle with making songs is like getting a song that's past 3 minutes is so rare for me.
Oh, really? Yeah, I was just talking about like, isn't it? It's like 6 songs or so. Right?
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
I think 6 or 7 songs.
Yeah.
But each song is only like 2 minutes 30 seconds.
Yeah.
At the bare
Yeah.
minimum 3 minutes.
I didn't really notice though. Like it
Yeah.
felt like there was a lot packed in, like
Yeah.
melodically.
And I feel like
stuff.
you can really tell your story through your songs, even if they
For
are
sure.
2.5 minutes. You know?
Yeah.
How did you decide on like some of the sequencing for the project? Was that kind of like laid out from the beginning?
No, because all of them were recorded at different
Different
times. But I kind of went based on like the beat and tempo of them. Like, you know, the first song I'm rapping, so I'm like, okay, I want a hard introduction because
Yeah.
I mainly sing. So the first song is me fully rapping. What's gonna tune people in? Be like, okay, let me listen more.
Make
Yeah.
that statement.
And then I progressed on from there, and then like each song kind of progressively slows down. And like I just wanted it to be like a soft ending, and then Cosmos felt like the most outro song to me. Like, you know, like
Yeah. I think it was smart to start with rapping too, because like you said, a lot of your peers are rappers.
Yeah.
You know, like
Right.
all the people that you've mentioned already.
yeah.
So if you want to kind of continue to get into that scene, you should probably rap
Yeah.
a little bit.
I also did that too because the first couple of songs like have rap in it.
Yeah.
So it kind of
Right.
made sense to me to sequence them somewhat together.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that it flowed into like a full singing song.
Yeah.
Right.
I think my favorite song is Drums with Jay Skeese. That's a really cool one. It just like, I don't know how else to describe it. It just sounds really cool.
Thank you.
And it kind of fits with the drum work. Like the people you've been collaborating
I originally
with and stuff.
named the song something else, but then I was like, why don't I name it Drums?
Yeah.
He signed a drum work. I say something about drums in the song, but
Right.
then it was kind of like a double entendre. It just kind of like played into that whole scheme.
Yeah. Yeah. And what can you say about working with Jay Skeese? That was kind of like
Yeah.
one of the first features you did on Iroquois Pliskin, I think it's
Yeah.
pronounced. And you've just kind of worked with him extensively. What's your relationship like?
So I actually met him at an open mic like 2019, or it was actually a rap cypher, my bad, 2019. And, you know, it's a rap cypher. Everyone's rapping. And I hopped in and I sang. And so as I was leaving, he was like, yo, like, who are you? Like, I just turned their rap cypher into a song with a hook. Nobody does that. And from that point forward, he invited me to a studio session. We recorded, I can't remember what the song is called, but it's with Tony Boy Skis and Gaines.
Okay.
And we just kind of went from there. And it's like anytime he needed like a singer with a specific sound, like I was just the person to call, and I was always available.
Yeah.
Because I was like, let me get as many features as I want, like as I can get out. Because I also, you know, was taking my time with making my own songs. So I was like, again, I need content, I need something. So let me get out there, let me get on features.
Right.
I need to
Gotta
be
get
putting
something
something
there.
out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Do you feel like both of your creative processes together work together well in that respect?
For sure. I think our sounds also are similar in the sense of like beat choice, which makes it really easy to work with him because we have a similar taste in beat, and the creative process just flows.
Right. That's really interesting when you were saying that, like, anytime kind of needs someone to hop on, you're just always ready to go for it. And that, in my mind, it made me think that either you guys just work really well together or you guys have that thing that just works when you get together, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Could you guys see yourselves working together more or maybe even doing like a project together at some point?
There's been talks about it. People have definitely been asking for a collaborative album.
Because you've got quite a few songs together at this point, so that's usually when somebody starts asking that type of question.
There's talks about it. We're waiting for the right time.
Yeah.
Even though I don't think there ever is a right time, it's just when we know, we know.
Yeah. Well, besides Jace Geese, you've made songs with Love the Genius, Lucky 7. Some of those were on the Drumworks album. What is it like networking with the local scene in Buffalo, hip-hop wise, music wise in general? And do you find it just to be like an important part of your process as an artist?
It definitely is an important part, but I also find it very inspiring.
Yeah.
Because I want to go further, but they're also in a position that I have yet to reach. And so I know I need to get there before I can even go to where I really want to be. And it's definitely helped along the way with putting the batteries in my back to keep working, keep networking.
Gotcha.
Stay focused, stay locked in.
Yeah. Yeah.
You seem to be like such a learner throughout all of your experiences. Have there been certain things that you've learned from them that you would like give as advice to others?
For sure. The one thing is staying consistent. You have to keep doing it. You cannot stop, even when you don't want to. Like, you have to keep going.
Yeah.
And just the networking and talking to people and just observing and things like that. Like, I wouldn't be as comfortable doing podcasts and things like that and interviews had I have not gone on those press runs.
Yeah.
To even know what to expect.
Yeah. When you mentioned that, I was kind of curious, like, what did that look like? Like, were you going to a specific city with Jace Geese just to kind of like see what he was up to, or you were like answering questions about the features you had done, or?
So, well, all of these interviews took place in New York City.
Okay.
I was invited to tag along just for a learning experience. You know, like if you want to be here, you need to see what it's like, and you need to be ready because when it's your time, you got to do it. The only one that I actually took part in and answered questions for was the one on Shade 45, and that wasn't even planned.
Yeah.
But because of being there and showing up, the guy that was doing the interview, I think his name is Gray Rizzy.
Okay.
He was like, "Oh, you're Kota. You're on the. You want to join? You want to sit down and have the conversation with us?" And so he asked his questions, and then he just kind of made up on the spot a couple for me that played into what they were talking about in the conversation.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that's really cool. I did see that interview. Yeah. It was cool to see you like included in that moment too. Did it feel good?
It did. It did. I was a little nervous.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't expecting it, but like on the inside, I told myself that I needed to be ready.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you got a chance to do any of that type of stuff yet for Ananda, or?
I did one interview for a Spaced Out podcast that was about Ananda.
Gotcha.
Interesting.
That's a local podcast in Buffalo.
Okay.
But other than that, I haven't really done any other, on-air type of situation for the album.
Yeah.
So this would be the first.
Yeah.
Gotcha. We're honored.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. Right. I wanted to jump into your work with Conway the Machine on the Won't He Do It tour. What was it like performing in places like, I believe, Detroit, Cleveland, and then also New York City, like you had mentioned?
It was an experience, for sure.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Like, I just had to be ready and expect the unexpected. And so, like, I was there again because of Skis. And he was just like, you can do a song on my set. Like, we have a song together on his album that we did. And then he let me get a couple minutes to do one of my songs off of Ananda. And just the way that people responded and interacted with the song, like people were coming up to me and like asking me to sign their stuff.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I was just like, wow. Like I know I have it, but it's just like I don't see myself all the time in the same light as other people see me. But I think like the most mind-blowing thing was in Cleveland. Someone came up to me with a Conway vinyl and was like, "Can you sign this?" And they wanted my signature on Conway's vinyl before he even signed it.
Yeah.
And I was just like, yo, like, what is happening?
Yeah.
Did you when you did perform? Did you always perform the same song off of Ananda, or did you get to switch it up?
I think the first time I did Glorious, and then the second time I performed my own song, we did drums. But other than that, I think in New York City we just did his song.
Got you.
Different crowd, different thing. He needed his set for that.
Yeah, of
Gotcha.
course.
Yeah.
Do you have any specific favorite memories or favorite places that you performed?
I want to say Cleveland was my favorite.
Yeah.
Like, New York City was an experience and Detroit was my introduction, but Cleveland specifically because that's where my mom's from, Ohio.
Okay.
Oh,
And so it
gotcha.
was like I'm doing a sold out show in my mom's like hometown.
Yeah.
And then that's also the show where the guy came up to me with Conway's vinyl.
Right.
I'm just like, what are the odds that like this is the city of all of them that like people are like, you did great. I loved your music. Where can I find you? Sign this. Like,
Yeah.
I figured when you had mentioned that story that you might have said Cleveland
Yeah.
was your favorite, but I still wanted to check.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I also wanted to ask, you've been performing in a lot of different Buffalo venues. What was that transition like going on this tour?
Yeah. Like you were performing in places like Mohawk Place and Stamps, like smaller venues, and then playing big places.
Yeah.
they all played a part. They helped prepare me for
Yeah.
it, for sure.
Absolutely.
Because I used to be really shy in front of crowds, like really shy.
Yeah.
And my stage presence wasn't as good. I was very timid and like I didn't really move around on the stage. And so like those experiences definitely helped me be able to be on these bigger sets and bigger stages and things like that.
Yeah. When you were on that bigger stage, did you have a lot of nerves? Like, was there any anxiety beforehand? Or
I surprisingly didn't. Like,
That's awesome.
because I was ready. Like, by that
Yeah.
time I was ready. Like, because it's like, this is what I want.
Yeah.
And it's like, when I do this again, I want it to be my show.
Yeah. Are you excited to get back out to bigger cities like that and perform? Yeah. Yeah. Specific place you want to go with it?
I think I would love to do New York City again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the city.
Yeah.
It's just everyone's so welcoming. And there's just so much.
Absolutely. For sure.
Yeah. Well, you were also involved in the creation of the Drumwork album. We mentioned it a couple times. But yeah, it was more of like it just kind of worked out for your favor. You were in the right place at the right time a little bit. How did you feel like the reception was to that? Like, did you feel like people were like liking the features that you did a lot, or?
I definitely like came across some like Reddit reviews.
That could be a deep dark hole. I would
Yeah.
assume.
Yeah, it can.
Yeah.
I literally only downloaded Reddit to be in the Griselda sub.
Yeah.
Just to look at and see those type of reactions and reviews. And like people, for the most part, I've only seen like positive reviews on
Okay,
that. So that's
great.
definitely very motivating
Yeah.
to make me want to keep going because people are appreciating and liking what I put out.
Yeah. It's great to see it on both ends. Like you were saying, you were getting the reception live in person, but then also, on the various sides of the internet, even if it is Reddit,
Reddit is probably the darkest one you can check.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. No, I wouldn't have the bravery to do that myself,
No,
but I'm glad that you did.
I put Ananda in the Griselda sub and somebody was like, "What is this? And why would you put it here?" I was like, "Just listen."
Oh man, yeah. Why not?
Somebody
It's
was
so
like-
it's
I
so
was
exactly related to
Yeah.
Griselda.
I was like, played and find out.
yeah.
Because it's like, okay, we have Jay Skis on the album,
Yeah.
but also 95% of the beats are produced by Camouflage Monk, who is like one of the main producers for Griselda.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't
Yeah.
it be in this sub? Yeah, I'm singing and I'm not like hardcore rapping, but like
It just sounds
Right.
like your typical Reddit hater. It doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah. Well, I think we're about ready to transition to our performance aspect. Take it away, Kota.
Here we go.
I spend a lot of time sitting alone, thinking about life and dreaming of all the ways that I could make you mine. I know that it seems wrong, but my heart says, baby, it's right. And if I just wait it out, it'd be worth the mental fight. So maybe if I let time run its course, you'll find yourself calling me yours. And maybe if I put my pride aside and let time do us right, I'd be fine. But I can't get you out of my mind. Get you out of my mind. Get you out of my mind, baby. See, every conversation feels like dream world vacations, like love in rotation, coming free, no frustrations. There's a lineup of guys tryna for the night, but if it were you, boy, I'd change your whole life. So open your arms up and pull me in tight. Oh, so maybe if I let time run its course, you'll find yourself calling me yours. And maybe if I put my pride aside and let time do us right, I'd be fine. But I can't get you out of my mind. Get you out of my mind. No, I can't get you out of my mind. Get you out of my mind.
Woo.
As I travel in this twisted world, I battle thoughts that beg for control of me, while learning love and reaching inner peace. To use my voice and live society. You got the world in your hands. 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 To manifest all my goals and dreams. To know that key lies here within me. But if I fail, what do I turn to? The book of life is here to guide me through. I know it all has to start somewhere. It's like a game and you can't be scared. Oh, don't be scared now. So make your choices wise and joy shall lead the way. Girl, just take it in and you can seize the day. You got the world in your hands. 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 You've got the world. You've got the world in your hands, girl. You've got the world in your hands, girl. In your hands, in the hands, girl. You've got the world. You've got the world. You've got the world in your hands, girl. You've got the world. These are thoughts upon my intellect. I wanna slow it down. Sometimes it's too much. These are thoughts upon my intellect. I wanna slow it down. Sometimes it's too much. I think about if I would be good enough for my kid to thrive in a world where we weren't built to ever shine. I'm trying to make it better, trying to take it farther so she can never say she's the daughter of a broken home where her parents argue. For her to feel love, to know peace, to always have hope and get good sleep. I wanna live more, I wanna struggle less, so I say my prayers and remain blessed. I wanna break the cycle, move past the drama. I wanna do my part and heal my own trauma. These are thoughts upon my intellect. I wanna slow it down. Sometimes it's too much. These are thoughts upon my intellect. I wanna slow it down. Sometimes it's too much. Accepting it's all on me to make it okay for my baby. Knowing I'm built for the task, what more could I ask for? Oh, 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 oh. These are thoughts upon my intellect. I wanna slow it down. Sometimes it's too much. These are thoughts upon my intellect. I wanna slow it down. Sometimes it's too much. Thoughts upon my thoughts upon my thoughts upon my. We are not human, baby, we're mega stars, led in the cosmos, where we connected heart. Show me you're gentle and promise you'll keep your word. My heart is fragile, but I swear I can hold my part. 'Cause I love you. 'Cause I love do it next life too. Where you go, I go, and I do it next life too. God match made when you're around. We're not human, baby, we are stars. All I'm saying is you know me so well. It feels like God match made when you're around. We're not human, baby, we are stars. 'Cause we are not human, baby, we're mega stars. In the cosmos, where we connected heart. Show me you're gentle and promise you'll keep your word. My heart is fragile, but I swear I can hold my part. 'Cause I love you. 'Cause I where you go, I go, and I do it next life too. I'm sweating.
Thank you so much, Kota, for that set. Coming down, doing some songs from Ananda, some
Sounded
older
great.
ones as well. In Your Hands, I find that has like a really positive and encouraging message. Is that something that you try to accomplish in a lot of your music in general?
I do. I try to remain positive. There are songs where I am swearing in it, but I really do try to refrain from like overly doing it.
Yes.
And so that if there is one song that has it, the rest of them really don't. So
Yeah.
I try to be as positive as possible. I try to be as uplifting because like my songs are messages to other people, but they're also like me uplifting myself. Like I have to keep that type of head on my shoulders in order to keep a level head going where I want to go.
Yeah.
Is that something you've always been striving to do, even when you were like first starting music, like we said, when you were 16?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, my first song was like about heartbreak, but I still try to be positive through it, you know, talk myself up
Yeah.
about it because, you know, these are messages to myself and I'm a firm believer in manifestation. So I do want to put a positive message out there because I want to attract positive.
Yeah. And it's
Yeah.
always good to put those perspectives on it too. Something that's sad, like a heartbreak, can still have that spin on it. You know, you eventually get through it and everything like that.
Yeah. Is there any topics that you haven't explored yet on a song that you're like itching to do, or like just different subject matter or anything like that for your future?
What it's like when I make it there. I don't know yet because I haven't reached it yet.
Yeah, that's a good answer.
I like it.
Yeah. Well, I think it's about time to bring in our favorite production goblin.
Here we go.
It's me. I'm back.
Welcome back.
I got a few inquiries
Okay.
for you,
Roll it
Kota.
away.
I noticed some pretty glamorous drip on today. You and your photographer.
You know, shout out to
cool.
Living Legends Fashion. It's a brand based out in New York City. I actually discovered it because my photographer here, Third Eye Visuals on Instagram, he was wearing it to Buffalo Fashion Week and that I modeled in. I was like, what is that? Where can I find that? And it's actually one of his friends, and he was like, I can connect you. And I was like, do you think he would sponsor that? Because like I'll wear it. Like that's fire. And we made the connect. He sent me a couple things, and here we are. It's probably one of my favorites from his catalog.
Nice.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So you developed a sponsorship with the clothing brand?
I did.
That's pretty cool. I don't even know how that.
Those are the business
Yeah.
moves that she
Man.
learned
The
early
business-
on.
Yes.
That's
Can't even fathom.
shout out to Jay Skis for that, because that's one of the things that he even put into perspective.
Okay.
Because like when we went on tour, he had a whole suitcase full of sponsored
Wow,
outfits from
really?
a brand. Yes.
Wow.
And like no one really talks about the fine details, but like that's how some of our favorite artists get sponsorships with
Yeah.
Nike, Adidas, things like that. And you got to start with the local brands,
Yeah,
because
Right.
start to
they
build
want
up
their
like
brands to be out there too.
Yeah.
a resume of brands that you could bring to a bigger brand at some point.
Yeah.
That is cool to hear though, because I would never think like, somebody like a Jay Skis or you would like be having so many sponsorships. Like I think
Oh,
more
for
like,
sure.
the next level up, like Conway or
Oh
one
yeah,
of the
because
other big
then
ones.
once you reach out and do things like that, then you got these brands just mailing you stuff.
Yeah.
They're like, please wear our
That's
stuff,
cool.
Yeah.
and you gotta start small and develop those type of relationships and know how to talk to people and
Yeah.
start at those things to get there.
Yeah.
And there's so many like small clothing brands that like are great. It's just like you can't get it out there. So
Yeah, like this is fire. He was
no, seriously.
he was telling me that I'm probably one of the only girls in Buffalo that have this,
Well,
Wow.
and
Yeah.
like if more people knew about it, it would be out there because it's fire.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you also just mentioned that you model as well.
I do.
Yeah,
it's
that's
not
awesome.
it's not something I do full time, but I definitely try to get out there and go to the casting calls and things like that, because I'm not fully in the position that I want to be in with my music, and I'm still working on putting a face to my name.
Yeah.
And so modeling is helping me not only get comfortable in front of the camera and networking with more people, but also
Exactly.
putting a face to Kota Savia.
Yeah,
Really creating an image
Definitely.
Right.
overall.
Yeah, any way you can get yourself out there. And if you're, naturally interested in doing all these things, I'm
Right.
sure you're
Right.
enjoying it anyway.
Yeah, no,
So
it's definitely fun.
great.
And then to top it off, everything is content. So you're going to
Yeah.
a fashion show, meeting people, and then you have all these pictures.
And then you got
Absolutely.
3 more Instagram reels and 2 more story posts.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yep.
What is your interaction like with social media in that respect? Like, are you doing your own social media? What's your perspective on that?
I run my own Instagram account. That is my OG account that I've had since I was
Yeah.
like 10.
Love it.
I've like waded through it and just slowly made it more and more professional. I try
Okay.
to keep it to like my events, things that I'm doing artistically. I keep it minimal with my personal life on there, but I try to add it in there just because, I'm still a human,
Absolutely.
It makes people
Yeah.
feel more related and, more inclined to interact and message you. Because you'd be surprised, like people are nervous to message me and tell me things like how they feel about my music or things like that because they think I won't respond. But it's like I'm still taking it all in and don't even see myself in that light. So it's like, I try to be as, what's the word, personable?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Connect,
Of course.
making those type of connections with people.
Yeah, for sure. Got any more questions, Sebastian?
Actually, well, thank you, Jordan. Thank you. Matter of fact, we've talked about Reddit today. We've talked about
Oh, here we go.
about
Right.
SoundCloud.
Is this what I think it
a
is?
lot of communication going on there. A lot of funny. No, not funny at all. Reddit can be funny, but anyways, speaking of funny, is there any like, do you have a video in your head that you always like revert back to if you think about the internet? It's a weekly question that we ask. What is in your head? What lives in your head?
What lives
off
rent
the
free?
internet?
Yeah.
rent
The
free.
video of the guy going, okay.
That's a OG. You know that one?
That's
Yeah.
like my
Don't know
mood
that one.
24/7 because I'm just rolling with the punches, It's like, okay.
That's great. You don't know that one?
Don't know that one.
You've seen it.
Okay.
But by you saying it out loud, it's like
It's like
it's back
ringing a
here
bell,
in my
but-
brain, but I'm like I'm not visualizing
I have
it right
the
now.
exact picture.
They're like standing on a mountainside and like she like turns the camera and she says something and he's just like, okay.
full.
Yes. Okay. Now I got it. I got it.
Photo. No.
Hi.
Okay.
Video is crazy because I've only seen like just the cut, like
Oh, nah, man. I was like a avid supporter of Vine. Like, every
as you should.
day,
yeah,
doom scrolling.
Yeah. No,
that's crazy.
there have been a couple times. I can't say too many because some people have had some very interesting videos that they've mentioned. But
Yeah.
there are a couple times where someone was starting to say the video and it's like it's so close. It's like on the tip of my tongue. And then after I see the video after the recording, it's like I should have known.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm curious. So you were, wow, that's crazy. In Vine, like, I don't know. I was past that
Yeah.
prime. Was that your time, Jordan? No, you were
No,
past.
No, they had Vine.
You were on Vine. Like, you had an account.
You think I was on Vine?
I do. I don't know. You seem like
No.
you don't like. You're not
No,
a Vine guy.
I never Vined
Oh man.
ever.
It's like
To be honest,
I think we'd have to be like
I should have.
22.
I would probably understand things better when I had
You'd
to
understand
listen
the
on this
video.
question once a week if I was on Vine.
I wish I was on Vine.
I like.
It's my biggest regret.
Yeah, I missed Vine, but I had friends that were obsessed with Vine. So like people would say just like that, like people would say the phrases, but I'd have no idea what the actual video was unless I like actively searched for it.
Did you post Kota or?
Oh.
Or don't even get me
She
started
did.
about music.
I did. See, I never really rocked with Musically and stuff like that because I was like, this is literally Vine. And it's not Vine. It's
Vine
like
is
it's
the
like
OG.
Threads trying to be Twitter, and it's just not
Yeah.
Twitter.
Everybody's got to hop on to whatever's going on.
Yeah, nah. Once Vine was out of here, I'm like,
You were
know.
done.
I'm never touching TikTok.
Like, I have the app only because people send me stuff.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
never open TikTok.
Yeah.
And they make it so hard to watch a video if you don't
They
have
do.
the app.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Well, wanted to ask, do you have any releases, shows, anything that you want us to hear about?
So I am actually putting together an acoustic tiny desk. I'm not sure how you would want to phrase that, but I'm putting together a little pre-recorded acoustic version of Ananda
Oh, nice.
that I'm working on that is set to be filmed on the 25th of this month.
Cool.
I'm not official on a release date because, it has to get edited and
Yeah.
things like
Of
that.
course.
But
yeah.
early January, mid-January, stay tuned. It should be released on my YouTube.
Yeah.
I'll have like reels and stuff up and promo stuff going on my Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds
like
amazing.
Sounds like a
Yeah.
cool project. Yeah, I wish more people would do stuff like that, honestly.
Completely agreed.
Yeah, where are you going to record it? Do you have that, like, picked
So shout out to Tio. He has a What Would Tio Say photography studio on Allen.
okay.
He has a photo gallery and he also does photography. So we have it set up so that it has like a backdrop. This is actually the same place I took the photos for my Ananda cover.
Gotcha.
He's also the same one that took the pictures for the cover.
Cool.
So we're going to have it set up, have it decorated tiny desk style, and then we're going to have someone playing guitar, and we're going to run the album that way without a track, but with a guitar instead.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Wow.
You're gonna
Yeah,
have
I'm already
Skis
excited for
come
that.
through and do the
We are.
song acoustic.
We are.
That's
We are.
sick. I love
Nice.
that. Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah. Well, I believe that concludes this episode of the Local Lowdown. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank
really
you
appreciate
for having
it.
me.
Of course.
And thank you for tuning in to the Local Lowdown on 88.9 WCVF The Voice and 89.5 WDVL The Inferno. We'll be back with some more fire local music next week. Same time.
Same place. Bye.
If you feel me, put your hands up and sway to the beat of the drums. The drums. Blast off like a blade, real smooth with the moves, estoy caliente. Don't burn yourself on the path to collect my wealth. In my silence, you can hear me. Energy golden, black sheep chosen, bright eye glowing, lyrics flowing.